First, I want to thank you all for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. My name is Natalie Taylor, and I'm a content marketing writer here at Feedvisor. I'm joined by Stefan Jordev, Amazon expert and advertising director at Bobsled Marketing. Stefan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. So a little bit about myself. I'm the advertising director at Bobsled Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency with years of proven results and experience in helping brands scale on Amazon. I've been with the company for a little over 3 years, and currently I oversee the PPC internal teams as we help over 50 brands scale on Amazon.
Okay, thank you. And before we get started, I just want to quickly mention that there will be a short poll at the end of the webinar and plenty of time for Q&A. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, we encourage you to enter them into the space below, and we'll do our best to get to all of them. Nearly 3/4 of Amazon sellers use Amazon's pay-per-click ad options, such as sponsored products and sponsored brands. So for sellers and brands today, it's really no longer a question of whether you're using Amazon advertising, but how well you are using it. Are you leveraging Amazon's newest and advanced advertising features to beat the rising competition? Now, some of you might have attended our Amazon Advertising 101 session back in April with Forbes contributing writer and Bobsled Marketing founder, Kiri Masters. So today we're going to expand on those advertising groundwork that Kiri had laid out in the last session, offering advanced campaign strategies you can employ to enhance brand awareness, increase sales, and drive ROI as you scale your Amazon business. This includes every level of bid management, including all of the new features Amazon's introduced in the last 12 months, and how to work with negative keywords to ensure your products get in front of the right audience. And on that note, Stefan, I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. So as Natalie mentioned, today we'll talk about bid management in more depth, which is kind of a big deal when it comes to Amazon PPC or just PPC in general. So whether you are a Amazon seller or you have an agency that works on your PPC on Amazon, bid management probably gets included a lot in your reports and probably takes the most of your time optimizing campaigns. It is an ongoing daily or weekly or even daily process, which is consistent and needed from the minute you launch your sponsored product campaigns. So what we'll try to do here on this webinar is cover all the layers which require bid management when it comes to sponsored products, as a lot of those have been changing in the past 12 months, let's say, and Amazon has introduced a lot of changes towards bid management while introducing new features when it comes to Amazon PPC. So we're going to be starting with a campaign level bid management, which is included on the next slide. And basically, this is a strategy that was recently launched. It still has the beta sign next to it, but it has been at least 6 months since it was introduced. The campaign level bidding strategy includes dynamic bids down only, dynamic bids up and down, and fixed bids. All campaigns that were launched before the feature was introduced are using dynamic bids down only as their default setting. However, even though our internal tests as well as feedback from other agencies show that dynamic bids up and down usually result with higher ACOS, there are a few instances when it makes sense to use this option. The ones that come to mind, and I've included them here on the slide, is when you're doing a product launch, it is very important to get all the placements possible when you're launching a product that is just starting out, when you don't have the reviews your competitors have, and you just want to push sales no matter what. It makes sense that when you're launching a product, you're not as concerned with ACOS as you might be with your established products. A lot of instances we've seen this bidding strategy being used is single keyword campaigns. A lot of agencies or Amazon experts would take this approach, where they would launch a campaign with a single keyword, usually because the keyword is very, very important for that product or for the account in general. So using the dynamic bids up and down will help you get more impressions when it comes to the single keyword campaigns. And of course, I also want to connect the up and down dynamic bids with placements when placements are crucial to a given campaign or an account, as usually when it comes to the increased bid, it is the outcome that's supposed to lead to an improved conversion, and it usually means getting the higher placed position above default on Amazon. So to conclude on this slide, even though they usually result with higher ACOS, just the results seem to be showing that, this is definitely something to keep in mind, and especially in the instances we shared now. Moving on to ad group level bidding optimization. Ad group are just basically one hierarchy level below the campaign levels optimization. They're used for better organization of different subsets of products or keyword themes within a given campaign. They don't have individual budgets, so if a budget is set on a campaign level, the ad groups are going to be using them. But they do have default bidding settings, which affect all keywords included in a given ad group. So setting your ad group bids can save you a lot of time later on when you dive into individual keyword bids. As a rule of thumb and a best practice Amazon has shared on their Amazon advertising YouTube channel, if you are organizing your ad groups by keyword match type, which is the second image on this slide, meaning you have a broad, exact, and a phrase match type, you should be setting your bids for the broad match type to have the lowest bid possible, and the exact match type to have the highest bid you're willing to set on a given ad group, with phrase match being somewhere in the middle. Of course, this is just a guideline, and once your campaigns start running and you get down to keyword level optimization, you can take appropriate action based on the profitability of that given keyword. We can move over to the next slide, which is the match types bid optimization. This is also a feature that is somewhat new. I think it's been 6 to 10 months since it was introduced, and it is a feature that can possibly get neglected, as optimizing for the different match types available is something that we are used to overseeing, as we are used to launching an automatic campaign and just controlling the bid on an ad group level here. The match types included in automatic targeting ad groups are close match, loose match, substitutes, and complements. These can make a great difference in your campaign profitability. This feature is available only for the auto campaigns that were launched after the feature was introduced, but I believe many of you probably have it since it's been a while. And in case you don't necessarily need to create a new campaign. All you have to do is just create a new ad group within the given campaign, and you will be able to use these features. This is a great lever to pull when it comes to instant results, because focusing on close match only improves ACOS. This has been the case in most of the accounts we've worked in. As a rule of thumb, for most accounts where return on investment or ACOS is a priority, you can bid higher on close match types and substitutes compared to loose match and complementary products. Sometimes when you really need low ACOS and you're not worried about limiting the reach of your campaign, meaning you are going to get fewer impressions, you are going to get fewer clicks, you can simply decide to pause the lowest performing match types entirely. In most cases, these will be the loose match types and the complementary products. Moving over to keyword, ASINS, or categories level bid optimization. This is the very foundation when it comes to bid management on Amazon, and it's probably something we're all aware of. Keywords and ASINs and categories being the most recent targeting option being introduced here is something that every dedicated Amazon seller and PPC manager takes into account. Manual sponsored products use keywords, specific ASINs, or categories to do their targeting. Monitoring their performance and increasing or decreasing bids based on this is an ongoing process which ensures your campaign performance improves as your campaign matures. A few tips to be shared here is when you're starting a campaign and when you're adding your keywords, Amazon will include suggested bids for those. Starting by setting your bid slightly lower than Amazon suggests it and adjusting based on performance will make sure you are able to intervene and increase or decrease your bids as your ACOS grows or gets lower. Basically, when it comes to ACOS optimization, you should know your profit margins and your target ACOS, and looking at these performances periodically and decreasing the bids for keywords which have higher ACOS than the average account ACOS or your target ACOS, or increasing the bids for the ones that have lower ACOS than you would expect, is the foundation of keywords or ASINs optimization. Moving over to the next slide, this is the placement level bid optimization, and it is available by adjusting the bids you have set to target either the top of search or product pages. This is another feature that is frequently overlooked, and optimizing your bids for placements help you make sure your ads get displayed on the ad positions that work better for you. One might assume that your top of search placement will always result with lower ACOS and more sales. And while this is frequently the case, this is not a rule and it's not something that always happens. So your guide here, if you haven't been using this and if you haven't set it yet, your guide towards intervening here can be the existing performance before adjusting your placement bids. Navigating to the placement level bid optimization and looking at, I would look at the lifetime performance, looking for a performance with a time frame that is as big as the campaign has been running can give you a pretty good picture about where your products convert better. As I mentioned, a lot of the times that's going to be the top of search, so you might want to consider increasing the bids to target that top of search result. But in many instances, you might find your products or certain ASINs converting better on product pages. This can be for numerous reasons. You have better price than your competitors, you have more reviews, people simply prefer the product as opposed to the competitor products they're being displayed on. So this is definitely something you should consider before making the adjustments. For accounts who are interested in targeting top of search only, there is a tactic to be used here. And if you're not interested in being displayed on product pages at all, one strategy you can take is you can set up a very minimum bid. For the purposes of this webinar, I've used an example that sets a 20 cents bid, and you can increase it by 500% when it comes to top of search bid adjustment. So with this, you can ensure that you go into the auction with $1 bid for your top of search, while your bid stays 20 cents for product pages or rest of search, which probably won't be enough for you to get many impressions or even clicks. On the other hand, if you're seeing a lot of converting ASINs from your auto campaigns in your search term report, investigating why and adjusting bids on a product page level might make a lot of sense for your account. working with universal negative keywords is an additional section I have added here, and it's the only section I've included that it's not related to bid management, but it is inspired by a very cool test we did for a client of ours. Throughout the relationship working with this client, we have developed a list of universal negative keywords to get added into every campaign we launch. As the campaigns grow older and as we collect more search term data, we were able to identify keywords which would always show up for a newly launched campaigns, but they were never relevant. A very, very basic example here would be keywords such as blue socks, search terms such as blue socks triggering ads for red socks, or products which are related but not exactly what a customer might be searching for. So coming up with a list, saving it in Excel or a Google Sheet or anywhere that's handy before you launch your new campaign will help you launch a campaign, and preemptively you should be able to get that irrelevant traffic off your listing, as these would get included on a campaign level when the campaign gets launched. It is very difficult to measure the result of these, as you won't be able to tell how many impressions or clicks they would generate, but over the time you will be able to easily identify which these products are, and at the very least you'll know that you're not wasting additional budget on these, as they won't convert as well as other relevant keywords would be. I personally always advocate towards using negative exacts as negative phrase, because negative phrase can have a lot of limiting potential towards a lot of additional search terms which can get displayed here. So I would suggest coming up with a large list that consists of negative exact keywords only. And with that, I think the next slide is up to you, Natalie.
Okay, thanks, Stefan. So to wrap things up, I just want to point out a statistic from Feedvisor research, which found that just 21% of consumers rarely or never buy the first product listed on Amazon search results page. So it's extremely important that your product is positioned above the fold to lead to conversion. So with that said, the fourth quarter is notoriously known as the highest spending quarter of the year. Advertisers beef up their ad spend, knowing that competition intensifies over the holiday season, but most have little insight into whether those added dollars are actually driving results. We find that wasted ad spend is a major problem, particularly in the fourth quarter. Our Amazon experts here at Feedvisor have identified the top 5 reasons for wasted ad spend, and those include having the same strategy for every campaign, rushing through your keyword research and ignoring negative keywords, underutilizing or overusing automatic campaigns, not leveraging or understanding the metrics that are available to you, and not utilizing data and technology to inform your ad strategy. As Amazon continues to invest in its advertising capabilities and introduce new features and targeting options, you need to be rethinking your advertising strategy to optimize appropriately and avoid wasted ad spend. So all of the advanced strategies and tools that Stefan outlined today will help you decrease your wasted ad spend and free up capital that you can invest in new profitable campaigns that drive ROI. So to get a true sense of your advertising performance, our Amazon experts are offering a free ad spend and campaign analysis to help you pinpoint gaps and areas for improvement. You can get in touch with us at the link provided here to book your free analysis today. And now we'd like to dig into some questions as part of the Q&A, and we also have a brief poll that you should see on your screens now. As always, if you'd like to learn more about any of the ongoing initiatives we have here at Feedvisor, from our advertising solution to our data intelligence, please connect with us. All right, we'll just leave that poll question up for a couple more minutes, and we're going to start up with the Q&A. So the first question we have here, I was given this advice. You want to start advertising after you have about 20 reviews and some sales traction. My question is, how do you get the reviews and sales traction without the advertising?
So the official retail readiness definition, as thought by Amazon in their Amazon advertising accreditation course, is 15 reviews minimum and a minimum of 3.5 star ratings. And as per the second part of the question, I would say that's a very good question. I do know that there are some programs available, such as the early reviewer program, where you can enroll to get those reviews. But as someone who works on advertising exclusively, I do share your pain. Advertising sales and obtaining reviews seem to be connected, and getting up to 15 reviews before you can launch your advertising campaigns can be a bit painful. But once you get to those and you launch your campaigns, they will surely work with better conversion rates as opposed to running a campaign on a listing that says, that famous be the first one to review this item. I hope doing an additional research towards the early reviewer program might help you find some additional ways to get reviews towards your newly launched product.
Okay, thanks, Stefan. The next question we have here, have you tested fixed bids? I agree that bid up and down leads to higher costs without significantly higher sales. Given this situation, why would we believe bid down works correctly?
To be perfectly honest, most of the tests were included either by keeping the default option, which is bidding down only, or using the bid up and down. So I don't have a lot of tests using the fixed bids only, but as per your question, I think one of the ways to ensure that Amazon decreases the bid when, as per definition, a click is less likely to convert to a sale is just by simply looking at the cost per click. The cost per click is usually lower than the bid that's being said, the bid that is set for a given keyword or an ad group, and that it basically proves that Amazon charges us less for a click than the bid we've set based on the likeliness to convert, as they put it.
Okay, thanks, Stefan. Next question we have here is on match types. Why would you simply bid higher on close match compared to loose and others? Wouldn't it be optimal to bid your ACoS goal?
It would. This is just, and I think that's how I labeled it. It's a rule of thumb. Basically, why I singled out the close match type and the substitutes is, I would say in most cases, if not all, these are the match types that result with lower ACoS. In fact, close match type, unless it's a very new campaign and it's only been running for a day, so we don't get any statistically valid data, I would say in pretty much all cases I've checked, close match type is the one that has the lowest ACoS. So basically, that is why I recommended it. Adjusting bids based on best ACoS levels and best performing ROI is the only rule to follow. And the close match type being recommended by my side is because I do believe that's the way to get there.
All right, the next question we have here. Do you add the universal negative keywords as negative phrase or negative exact?
I try to add all of them as negative exacts. I have I'm personally a little bit afraid of using negative phrase for many reasons. There's just no way to tell how much you've limited your campaign reach by adding negative phrase keywords. So instead of adding it as negative phrase, try to think of additional keywords that would go into that given keyword phrase, and I would definitely recommend adding it as a negative exact.
Okay, the next question we have. What would be your recommendation about a structures campaign? One campaign with ad group by match type or one campaign by match type? And do you include brand keywords, competition keywords, and regular keywords in the same ad group?
So basically, a lot of the times we'll need to work with the structure that's been put in place by the client that approaches us. But I must say that most of the times we've set up campaigns that has broad phrase and exact match types as ad groups within a given single campaign that doesn't include branded keywords. We try to set up a branded campaign as its own separate campaign simply because it's easier to take a look at its performance straight from the dashboard. A lot of clients are always interested in seeing how many of those sales came from branded versus non-branded keywords, and just being able to tell by simply looking at the Amazon advertising dashboard is an advantage. I do realize a lot of Amazon advertisers set up competitor keywords, branded keywords, and general keywords as within their own ad groups in a single campaign. But I always try to think of ad groups as simply a way of organizing yourself and the account you're working on. So whichever approach allows you to review the performance quickly and just an approach that works for you and how you've gotten used to working, I think either approach is fine.
Okay, why would any company only want to bid to top of search if other positions are creating sales while hitting the ACOS goals?
It wouldn't. If other positions are generating sales that are equal or lower than your target ACOS, great. I would definitely recommend using all of them. The only reason I was pointing to top of search or product pages is if an account or a campaign has issues with profitability and ACOS, and you need to make a decision between the two of them. If both of those placements work well for you, that's great.
Great. And would you recommend putting a brand name in negative keywords so it doesn't come up in generic campaigns?
Yes, if you want to make sure only your branded campaigns get impressions related to your branded searches, adding the branded name as a negative exact into the general keyword campaigns makes sense.
Okay, and one more question. Targeting a specific competitor, its brand or ASIN, if the competitor is pretty popular, does it lead us to a higher ACOS?
First of all, when it comes to targeting a competitor, I think the best way to go about it is to target the specific ASINs. In a lot of cases, we see that if you simply add a competitor brand name in your keyword targeting campaigns, it simply doesn't get impressions or clicks, and this is due to relevancy. Targeting a competitor that is very popular, or worse, it has a lower pricing point set, would, I mean, just by common sense, I think it would lead to lower ACOS. I think the two sections to have in mind when you're targeting competitors should be number of reviews and the star rating on average and the price. If you're going after a product which has a lower price than you, it would likely lead to a higher ACOS for that particular campaign.
Okay, next question. If we can set the budget only at campaign level, is there a way to know what proportion goes to which ad group, exact, broad, etc.?
The budget, I'm going to use an example here. If we set a budget of $100 on a campaign level, and we have the campaign, Amazon recommends leaving it running for 7 up to 10 days before making any adjustments. what we would be able to tell the portion just by looking at the performance. If between the campaign doesn't necessarily have to spend the entire budget set on a daily level, but let's say that the campaign spent $500 within the week of running. Out of those $500, if let's say $200 went to a broad match type, $50 went to a phrase match type, and the rest of them went to an exact match type, looking at the spend levels on an ad group level, if you have them set, if you have your ad groups set to match the keyword match types, you should be able to get a percentage of the budget and how it's being distributed per keyword match type.
All right, we have time for one more question. So with product targeting campaigns, how do you pick the products to target?
One great way to go about this is when you have just the simple auto campaigns running. A lot of times when you export your search term report, you should be able to find some converting ASINs which have the desired ACoS level. So those are definite candidates for you to include into your product campaigns. Targeting the high organic products for a category that's important to you is also good. You might, I'm going to use the Red Sox example here, simply searching for Red Sox, exporting those results from page 1 or 2 on Amazon and just adding the ASINs within a given campaign is another approach you can take. And before you add any products, what I try to make sure is set up different campaigns for lower price competitors as opposed to higher price competitors, and do the same with ratings. Simply looking at your reports or doing a simple search on Amazon for your competitors should give you a good enough sense of which products should get included into your product targeting campaigns, but separating them in a way to know which ones you expect to convert better would make things easier once you start optimizing those campaigns.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. That's about all the time we have for the Q&A. If you want to just take it from here, Stefan.
Sure. I just wanted to use this opportunity to share that our founder and CEO, Kiri, has released a new book titled Amazon for CMOs. The book's Kindle version is available for free on Amazon until Saturday. So if you're interested in learning about Amazon in more depth from a CMO perspective, make sure you get a copy. Just look up Amazon for CMOs on Amazon and you should be able to download it for free.
Okay, and we have just one more poll question that we want to share with you guys. So which areas on bid management do you need most help with? And Stefan, I just want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you sharing your expertise.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to everyone listening in. For anyone whose questions we did not have a chance to get to today, we'll be sure to follow up and get in touch with you. And we'll also be sending out a link to today's webinar recording and presentation shortly for you to refer to as needed. So with that, please feel free to reach out if you're interested in learning more. And thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day.